Okay, we are going to create a query. We created 3 tables, our customer, product, and sales table, and now we want to create a report that is going to let us know what our sales were and who our customers were, because this name right here really isn't very meaningful when we go into our sales table. So we want to know how much products people purchased. We're gonna do a query. We're gonna pull information from all of our tables actually when we're doing this query. So this is going to be something different that we haven't done before. So we're going to use our wizard, and we want to do the simple query wizard. Okay, what kind of information do you think would be good to include in our table? Would we want to know who purchased something? Yeah. Okay, so what table would we get that from? Customer table. Okay, so rather than having a customer number, I think I'd rather see the first name and the last name. So I'm going to do one at a time because we don't need to have all of our customer fields in here. So we're going to choose first name, last name. We do want to know what city they're from. So that's the information that we're going to pull from our customer table. Okay? Now we want to go to our product table. And what do you think would be good information to put in here as far as thinking of what? Yeah, product name would be a good thing. We want to know what they purchased and the price. Good job, Chris. And sales table. We would want to know, probably date would be a good thing to have in there. Quantity purchased. That would be good. So we can go ahead and hit next. Yes, we are going to modify it. I'm going to say sales 2013. Because I already had a sales one in there. Okay, so now we have this query. I'm going to make these wider by dragging. So in looking at our query right here, we want to figure out how much each person owes us. We're going to multiply our price per unit by the quantity. And we're going to do that by going into our design view. Remember when we set relationships yesterday, you could just drag something over? So if we want to go into we want to multiply price per unit. So I can click on my product table, take that field, and drag it down here next to quantity purchased. And it pulls in one field. Now what you have to do, anytime you have a field, when you have more than one field, you have to put brackets around it. So your bracket key is right to the right of your letter of the P key. So hold your, and you get these square boxes. Now in Excel, when we wanted to multiply, what key did we use to multiply? Asterisk. Asterisk. So hit your asterisk. And now we want to multiply it by another field. So when we do a field, what do we have to put around it?
Parentheses.
Not parentheses, but a bracket. Okay? So we want to multiply price per unit by quantity purchased, right? Okay, doesn't let us grab it. So we're going to have to actually type it. And if you don't type it exactly the way the field is named, it will not work. So just make sure that you type it accurately. So now we have our price per unit multiplied by the quantity. And when we go into our data sheet view, we see that there's costs in here. Do we like this title up here that says EXPR1? Okay, so you want to change that. I always view it and make sure that my formula did work correctly. Go back into your view, and where you see EXPR1 with the colon in here,
yeah.
All you have to do is don't erase the colon, but then probably put total sale. That would be a good. Now when you go into your data sheet view, we have a more meaningful title. So that is how you do a calculated field in Access. Now, in looking at this report, or the query, we have our first name and last name. It would be nice when we do a report to have those combined and make it look more natural with spaces in it. So we're going to go into our datasheet view, and we are going to concatenate our first and last name. Concatenate basically means that you're combining. So I'm going to grab my first name field, and I'm just going to drag it in between my last name and my city. When we have fields, we have to put brackets around them. So put your bracket at the beginning and the end. And then when we want to add something, you're going to use your AND key. Now we want to have a space. So in Excel, remember when we did if statements, you put a space in. So put a quotation mark, hit your space bar, and another quotation mark. Now we want to add something else, so hit your AND key and a bracket, and we want to add our last name field. You have to actually type this, and if you don't type it correctly, it will not work. Close off your field. Now when we go into our datasheet view, we see that first name and last name are together. This title we would want to change, so we can go back into our datasheet view, design view, and fix that, and we'll delete our first name and last name fields. So first we're going to fix that title, so just say name. When you select the whole column, it's darkened like that, then just hit delete key. Do the same thing for your last name. So now we have our report query and ready to create a report.